So what do we talk about first?
For now, let's see if we can narrow down the list of suspects.
Tancrotch probably got killed during the seance, so everyone there's suspicious. Tancrotch!
Come on, Miyu. Chill. The people who attended the seance. Rikio, Shuichi, Himiko, Kokichi. Yep.
That's it! It was me, Kyo, Himiko, and Kokichi.
So those four are the culprits!
No.
Oh, Himiko's still culprit?
Well, that's probably just a coinkydink. The most suspicious out of the four is really Kyo. He suggested the whole seance idea.
True, I may have suggested it, but I explained the procedure beforehand, yes? If we all knew of it before the murder, then we are all equally suspicious.
Well, I suppose, but...
In addition, the seance wasn't entirely in my control either. I was not the one who selected the room we performed it in. It was Himiko.
Ooh. That was one of the things we were wondering.
Yeah, I guess it was her. Yeah, because that's one of the questions I asked off screen.
Oh yeah, we asked, and Zell asked about it earlier too. I think. I don't know. Whatever. So we talked about it.
Yeah, I did. I said it has to have been somebody who suggested the seance.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
However, there are 3 empty rooms. Which one shall we use?
Oh, sorry.
The middle room. The middle room's always best for stuff like this.
Oh, I used the wrong voice for her, but that's fine.
It's fine.
Very
But yeah,
well.
see, that's sus.
Yeah.
Very well. I shall begin the preparations at once.
She was also near the hole where we found the sickle.
Mm-hmm.
That was her
Ooh,
corner.
good catch.
Oh, right.
Also, we should not limit our suspects to only those who participated in the seance. The empty room had a point of entry from outside, you see.
A point of entry from outside. He must be referring to. Is he talking about the hole?
There!
I guess he is.
You're talking about under the floor, right?
Huh? Under the floor?
Yes, there's a crawl space under the floor a person can move through. There was also a hole that connected it to the neighboring room.
If the culprit used the hole, they could have entered and exited the seance room.
If we consider that possibility, then there is another suspect.
Another suspect? Who?
It's appearing before me. Oh, I can see it clearly. The true identity of Tenko's killer.
Okay. Cage child, loose floorboard, Kibo's flashlight function.
The
hole in
culprit
corner.
sneaked in during the seance by crawling under the floor.
But it was pitch black during the seance. How could they even see if they were under the floor?
That's true.
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light.
Light? You mean candle?
I mean, Kibo's flashlight function.
Huh? Now, hold on a second.
Hold on a second. So, okay. In order to perform the ritual, so this is the whole fucking ritual, boy. Right here. Function that Mew added to Kibo, you'd emit a blinding light from his eyes. What was it? Loose forward, right. For Tenko, it was not loose before the seance. There was dried blood on the bottom part of the floorboard. hole in the corner. That was the other one. It was in the corner of the room. Basement of the floor so you can see what was dropped.
Kibo could have used that function to get under the floor and sneak into the empty room during the seance.
I said, hold on a second.
He used his robot functions to commit the murders.
Hold on a second.
It's true that with a little light you can move around under the floor. Is that possible?
The culprit sneaked in
Yeah, 'cause
during
I
the
feel like
seance
you'd be able to see it
by crawling under the floor.
Blinding, you would have seen it through the little gaps between the floorboards.
Yeah, exactly.
Our villain had a light.
Oh, okay, I don't think it's that.
I mean, Kibo's flashlight function.
No, hold on a second. Kibo could have used that function to get under the floor.
Nope. Okay. So there's enough room for one person to move around, especially if they keep us flashlight.
I was wrong!
The culprit sneaked in during the seance by crawling under the floor.
Maybe it's this on Yo's thing?
If they were under the floor.
Because it wasn't dark. You see, villain had a light.
Whichever it was, well, we need a light, no? That's how you're
Oh no!
The culprit sneaked in during the seance
It's because the flashlight is
by crawling under the floor.
But it was pitch black during the seance. How could they even see if they were under the floor?
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light.
Light? You mean candle?
I mean,
the one I
flashlight function.
No, hold on a second.
we used line again.
Function to get
Use
under
that
the
function to get
floor
Under the floor.
and sneak.
Okay, I think it might be Kyo's line then. I'm not really sure.
The culprit sneaked in during the seance
by
crawling under the floor. Because it wasn't dark under the floor.
You see, villain had a light.
Cool.
That's wrong!
You would have seen it through the hole.
I don't think the culprit could have used a light while under the floor. There was a hole in the corner of the room. If a light were used, it would have leaked through and we would have seen it.
But when we did the seance, the room was definitely pitch black.
So a light was not shined under the floor, which means you cannot claim I am the culprit.
Geez, here I thought this would be the case where the murder could only be done by a robot.
You have accused me of being the culprit more than once now, simply because I am a robot. My status as a robot does not mean I am capable of performing superhuman feats. My vision is somewhat poor, and I only possess average physical strength and intelligence.
All right, you made your point. God, now I feel sort of bad for you.
I neither want nor need your pity.
Enough with the flashlight! It's way too bright!
It would have been difficult to move around under the floor in that pitch black darkness. Maybe the floor and the hole have nothing to do with this case.
Then why was floorboard under Tenko lined up funny? Gonta think that was so culprit could stab Tenko from under floor.
Ooh, nice observation, Gonta. Are you finally getting used to the class trials?
Uh-huh.
Whoa,
Thank you.
whoa there. Whoa, no attacking good boy Gonta. What is this?
Oh, he's just saying that Gonta made a good observation.
He
Don't
said
say
it in
it
like
like
a
that.
condescending way.
You're better off
Well,
not
yeah,
being
he
used
always
to this kind of
does.
stuff.
It's okay. Gonta can handle it.
Maybe they marked Tenko with glowing paint and looked for that.
This trial really is like trying to call back to all the first trials, huh?
Oh yeah.
That'd let the
Oh,
culprit
yeah.
find her.
Then they
Then
could stab her through the floorboards. Oh, huh. I wonder
My
if
God,
that
they
happened
just
before. Literally what the first case was in the last game.
Yeah.
Boy, that sounds really familiar too. But I'm just gonna ignore it.
Oh my goodness.
Her corpse didn't have
Monokuma.
any trace of glowing paint, though.
Oh, yeah. So then why was that floorboard loose?
The loose floorboard was the one under Tenko, right? If the culprit used it while she was still alive, she'd totally notice.
Who fucking cares? Fussing over that won't get us closer to the culprit!
We shouldn't dismiss this line of inquiry, however. Instead of butting our heads against this, how about we concentrate on another issue?
What other issue?
Perhaps first, we should figure out how and when exactly Tenko was killed.
When? So not during seance?
Tenko was in the metal cage for the whole seance, wasn't she? How could someone have gotten to her there?
Maybe the culprit killed her before she went under the metal cage.
That's not possible. She was alive at that point.
This is the point of no return, Tenko. After this point, you mustn't speak. The next time you open your mouth, it will be Angie speaking through you.
Good. I will not say a word until the seance is over. I have to say, I think we've said that like 3 or 4 times already.
Yeah, I think that, yeah.
That was right before we blew out the candles. But when the light came back...
The floorboard was removed at that point, so it's likely she was already dead then.
So she was killed when the room was dark?
But she was inside Cage, right? Going to think it impossible to kill her then.
Then she wasn't killed when the room was dark. It was a different time.
A different time?
How the fuck should I know? You figure it out, shitheads!
Huh?
Since Gonta said it was impossible, I'm proposing an alternate theory. Now hurry up and think!
Yeah. Okay.
If you want to make my golden brain tingle, start circle jerking your limp dick brains!
Okay. Whatever you say, Mew. Stone iron cage. White sheet though.
When Tenko got killed,
Really want to see what they
It
say in
wasn't
like
during the
Japanese for her
seance.
character.
That's a
It could
good
have been
point.
done
Like what?
at any other time.
Like how bad do they make
She
her
was
in
under the
Japanese
cage
too?
the whole time. And she
Yeah.
was dead when the cage was lifted.
What about moment Cage was lifted?
Okay.
like that.
When Cage lifted, culprit stabbed Tenko real fast. So fast, no one saw.
Oh my!
So who lifted the cage?
It was me.
Then obviously
Come on.
Himiko is the culprit.
There's no down!
Why? Why does it have to be like this? Okay, whatever. Tenko not being killed during the seance. That might not be impossible, but there's no evidence for it.
When Tenko got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at...
Wait. Stone was by Tenko's body during the seance. Tenko had been crashed over in the iron cage with her forehead on this stone. That was over the iron cage during the seance. It's very thick, cannot be seen through. Oh, there's blood on the back around the middle of the sheet. There's no hole in the fabric. He was the one who placed the sheet over the cage and removed it off the cage. So the white sheet is the important part because it's bloody.
She was
So
in the cage the whole time.
She was dead when the cage was lifted.
What
About moment
Cage lifted?
That's wrong! No, It wasn't possible to kill her the moment the cage was lifted, because the inside of the white cloth had Tenko's blood on it. That cloth was removed before the cage was lifted. If Tenko was stabbed then, there wouldn't be blood on the cloth.
What? But how could my golden brain be wrong when it felt so right?
Jesus Christ.
The only possibility is that Tenko was killed during the seance.
I got your remodel right here!
Oh.
Really
No,
wants to be right.
It's still wrong to think that Tenko was killed during the seance.
She didn't seem that confident about it at all before.
What?
I'm gonna prove it right now. My golden brain is gonna go all out!
Marcus was forward and cage to go under the floor.
Tenko died after the seance. It happened when the sheet was lifted. That was the moment the culprit chose to stab the fuck out of Tenko through the cage. They stuck the thin blade through the gap, and that clean white sheet got stained blood red.
But the weapon was a sickle. Only the blade could have fit through the gaps.
The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko, sitting in there with her neck all exposed. She wasn't that far from the cage's gaps. In which case, the person who lifted the sheet is the culprit, and that's none other than Kyo!
There has to be a whole Muse blood somewhere. All I have to do is show the evidence of what counter Muse claims.
The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko, sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
I'll cut through your words. Wait just a minute. Tenko wasn't sitting down inside the cage. She was bent over with her forehead against the marker stone. And the cage itself was about 3 feet tall. The sickle's blade was too short to reach Tenko while she was in that position.
Then I messed up again? How could this happen? I am so embarrassed.
No worries, Mew. Everyone already knows you're an embarrassment to the human race.
Yeah, no worries.
Don't come on.
Oh, how embarrassing!
If Shuichi is right, then it's impossible for Tenko to have been killed through the cage.
She couldn't have been killed during the seance since she was in the cage, right?
If she was killed then, the cloth over the cage would have been pierced.
Not during the seance or from below the floor. Then it's impossible, isn't it?
Yeah, for a living person.
Huh?
What if Angie's spirit killed Tenko?
What are you talking about? That's not possible.
We don't know that. Some things are impossible for a human, but not for a spirit.
Don't say stupid stuff like that. Screw spirits.
Stop that now.
Angie's spirit killed Tenko? Why?
Himiko?
Why would Angie's spirit kill Tenko?
What if Tenko killed Angie, and then Angie's spirit came back for revenge?
Like I said, that's impossible. Spirits can't be culprits.
Then explain how the culprit killed Tenko under these impossible circumstances.
Well,
See? You can't explain, can you? Only a spirit could have done that!
Wait, I know. What if the culprit was hiding inside the cage? If they were in there, they could have stabbed Tenko during the seance.
No. If there was someone else in the cage, we would have
I
noticed.
agree with Kaito. the culprit could have been inside the cage.
Ooh. You do?
Nonsense.
What?
There was no space in the cage for the culprit to hide.
Well, I was thinking that they stuck out, like they moved the floorboard and then they like poked out from there, but
Maybe the culprit wouldn't need to hide in the first place.
What?
or are they saying Tenko killed herself?
Also, the culprit could have killed her in the cage at any time. I think you know what I'm getting at, right?
The they she's referring to, yeah, I think that's what they're going for. Yeah. Yep. As we said
I believe
earlier.
Maki is referring to Tenko herself.
What did you say?
Did we say that? I don't remember if we said that before stream or if we said that on stream, but I know we talked
I
about
think we
the
said it before
possibility.
stream. I
Yeah.
think we said it before.
Yeah, I think so too. But we had talked about the possibility that Tenko did kill herself because maybe she killed Angie and then she killed herself.
Are you saying Tenko is the culprit?
She committed suicide.
Suicide?
If she committed suicide, it would explain a lot of things we couldn't figure out. She volunteered to be in the cage and then stabbed herself during the seance. It wouldn't matter how dark the room was.
But the sickle she was stabbed with was under the floor, right? If Tenko had stabbed herself, wouldn't the sickle still be inside the cage?
No, because her death wasn't necessarily instant.
Oh my god. Mew actually said something smart.
Perhaps that explains why the floorboard was removed. After stabbing herself with the sickle, she threw it underneath the floor.
So she took off the floorboard to get rid of the sickle?
Yes, that makes sense to Gonta.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me. There's no reason for Tenko to commit suicide.
Maybe I wasn't too far off with the theory I had earlier. You know, about Tenko killing Angie.
Yeah?
Because Tenko and Angie were fighting for your attention, right?
Hey, Angie, when did you brainwash Himiko?
Tenko's pent-up
That's
frustration
it?
led her
That's
to
the
commit
only-
such an atrocity. Her conscience couldn't handle it anymore, so she decided to end her own life.
What?
But if she was gonna kill herself, why do it during the seance?
She wanted to hide the truth of her suicide.
Really? Why?
There could only be one reason to hide it in a killing game, right? It's to take us down with her.
Take us down?
She wanted us to pick the wrong answer during the
I
class
don't know
trial,
if I believe that.
so she could bring us all down. She wanted us to die with her.
I don't think that is the case.
Okay, well, she probably just wanted Himiko to die with her, but still.
But what are you saying? Tenko wasn't like that. She told me.
Keep your chin up and live life facing forward. Survive with me and everyone else.
What if all of that was just a lie?
A lie?
Wait, we should believe Tenko's last words.
The true terror of class trials is that you shouldn't believe everything said.
Himiko, you said that Tenko would never do anything like that. But how can you be so sure? Did you guys actually know each other? People keep all sorts of secrets, like Maki. She hid the fact that she's a cold-blooded killer. Is it wise of us to trust other people wholeheartedly in this kind of situation?
Jeez, you're such a naive dude.
Naive?
We're all just people, you know? Of course we're gonna have some secrets. What matters is whether there's any malice behind them.
People can lie about how malicious their hidden secrets really are.
Well, duh. It's impossible to know for sure what others are thinking. That's why it all comes down to whether or not you believe in yourself. If you get betrayed, it's not their fault. It's your fault for believing in them. That's why I believed in Maki Roll, because I wanted to believe in her.
Just because you're acting all cool doesn't mean you get to skip training.
Hey, come on. Don't you think you're being a little too strict?
Well, we come from different backgrounds. So for now, let's agree to disagree. No one's ever called me naive before. And from Kaito? Seriously?
Whether or not I believe, my heart can't reach Tenko anymore. But I want to believe in her. She wouldn't commit suicide. She wouldn't try to take us down. That's what I want to believe!
Me too. Gonta no can believe Tenko commits suicide.
But if Tenko did commit suicide, that would answer all of our questions.
If you insist we believe in Tenko, then provide a reason to do so.
A proper reason. So I guess they're trying to insinuate that she actually didn't kill herself.
All right, I'll give you a reason.
Is there a reason?
Yes, there is. Will you trust me, Maki? If it turns out I'm wrong, you can blame me all you like. But for now, I need you to trust in my detective work.
I don't believe Tenko would kill herself because of what she said.
Okay, I'll see seance.
She would never have said, "I'll see you guys later," if she didn't mean it. She just wouldn't, you know? She said, "See you guys after." I doubt she had a sudden change of heart. Just because we don't know how she was killed doesn't mean that it was suicide. We shouldn't be satisfied with that, and if we keep thinking, we'll find the truth. And that means we have to believe in Tenko. I'll make them all believe. Interesting. This makes me think I'm gonna have to lie on this one.
So far, suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Her plan was to take us down with her. So she hid.
Actually, let me look through it. Victim. So file 3. So that's Angie's file. Oh no, it's both files. Angie discovered in the Artist Lab 2 a.m. Died at 2 a.m. Victim was killed by a fatal stab wound to the torso. Additionally, she was lacerated stomach. Second victim is Tenko. Vacant room on the 4th floor, 11 a.m. Stab wound in the neck. And then what are the other things?
Her true intentions.
Child, Tenko's last moments holding the corner. Okay, Tenko's last moments. Tenko died in a crouched position. The injury on the back of the neck was deep, but probably not enough to kill her immediately. Hole in the corner. Hole in the corner. And then that's just the ritual.
Tenko's not that kind of person! But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle and then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength, she threw the sickle underneath the floor.
Okay, so
all the pieces fit.
Ooh, okay, I know exactly what I need to do here. Everyone thinks that Tenko committed suicide, but only because they're latching onto the easiest answer. To get out of this, I need to make them think their suicide theory wouldn't work.
So far, suicide...
Interesting, okay.
So she hid her true intentions. But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance. She could have secretly brought the sickle and then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of
I'll reveal the truth. Tenko couldn't have thrown the sickle under the floor because she died instantly.
instantly.
Her death might not have been instant, but she couldn't have gone far before she bled out.
I'm certain of it. My investigation determined that she died instantly.
What's your opinion, Maki? I'd like to hear from someone who specializes in murder.
Maki.
You're right. I completely forgot about that important detail. Tenko died instantly.
What?
As an assassin, I specialize in killing my targets swiftly. I have no doubt that Tenko was killed immediately.
Words of a true killer. Pretty sure we can believe everything she said.
Thank you, Maki.
How could you forget that, Maki Roll? You better apologize to Shuichi.
Hey, chill, dude.
Excuse me?
It's okay, Kaito, really. No apology necessary. Anyway, Tenko died so suddenly that she couldn't have gotten rid of the sickle. Knowing that, the theory that she killed herself just doesn't fit, correct?
That's so interesting. Because they literally... Because that means it almost seems like that detail's there just so that you can lie about it.
Just like I thought. Tenko wouldn't commit suicide.
Thank goodness, Himiko.
Which means someone definitely killed Tenko during the seance.
Her suicide was considered because we could not determine how she was killed.
No, there must have been a way. We're gonna figure it out.
Did any of the participants witness anything peculiar during the seance? If you know something, please speak up. It could be the key to solving this mystery.
Not a bad idea. We should remember what happened at the seance. Let me try to remember. I'm sure there's something. I need some kind of clue that will help me solve this mystery.
Did anything seem out of the ordinary during the seance?
There is something that bothers me. The fact that the seance failed. The ritual was perfect, and yet it failed. How utterly strange.
Now that I think about it, while we were all singing the song, I heard something fall, I think.
I think so. Might be
I'm more
that.
concerned about how dark it got in there. I mean, it was totally pitch black. My job was to relight the candles. Moving along the walls was seriously tough.
Sure was. It was pitch black during the seance. That limits what could have happened. Stay calm. Think. There must be some kind of clue.
Did it?
Okay, so during the seance there was a loud sound while it was clearly dark. So I think it's just a statement with that.
The fact that the seance failed. The ritual was perfect, and yet it failed. How utterly strange. Now that I think about it, we were all singing the song. I heard something.
Oh, cool.
I agree.
Right then, there for some reason.
Himiko, you think that something fell because of that sound you heard, right?
That's not the sound effect they used before. They used a thunk before.
It sounded like something heavy fell down and hit the floor really hard. What could have fallen down?
Fallen down? There wasn't anything on the ceiling that could have fallen down, right?
Am I wrong? I thought something fell, but...
The sound was pretty loud. It did seem like something hit the floorboards.
A loud sound, like something hit the floorboards. Maybe that sound had something to do with the other thing that happened in the dark. Who's floorboard?
This is it! I think the floorboard coming off had something to do with that sound. That floorboard came loose at some point during the seance, right?
Would the floorboard have made such a loud sound, though?
It was the sound of an intense impact. If the impact was that intense, then it could have loosened the floorboard.
That is true. There would have had to be a strong impact to make that sound. But what was it? What could it possibly be? What could it possibly be?
All right then, let's go with that. We all gotta put our heads together now.
Sounding chance, magic circle, cross key, spread.
So what made the floorboard come loose?
Judging from the sound, there must have been considerable force.
Someone who participated in the seance. Maybe that person tore off the floorboard.
That wouldn't make such a loud crashing sound.
Maybe the wooden statue fell over.
No.
But that statue was still on top of the cage.
Culprit hide under floor. Then stood up with such might.
But we already said there was no one under the floor.
Someone must have stomped through the floorboard.
A floorboard that comes loose when you step on it is dangerous. God, it's like I'm the only one here who's staying on the ball.
You hardly have any experience with balls to say that, Mew.
Don't be stupid.
What?
Don't you know, me and Balls are the best of friends.
Oh my god.
This is getting so ridiculous.
Why is that a shootable thing?
Yeah.
I agree with that statement.
I agree to that. What would have made a strong enough impact to knock the floorboard loose? If I think about everyone's testimony and combine it with the facts...
So what made the floorboard come loose?
Make the floorboard come loose.
Judging from the sound, there must have been considerable force.
Someone who participated in the seance. Maybe that person tore...
So I'm thinking, okay, one of the cross pieces was floorboard in the room, and so the only portion that supports floorboard was cut off. It wasn't broken naturally. It looked like someone had purposely cut it. Small amount of blood that was on the ground under the floor of the room seance was held in. It was quite far from the So, see something with this. There?
Wouldn't make such a loud crashing
I missed.
over.
Definitely not that.
Culprit hide under floor.
Then stood up with such might.
I don't think that's...
Someone must have stomped through the floorboard. A floorboard that comes loose when you step on it is dangerous. God, it's like I'm the only one here to stay on the ball. You hardly have any experience with balls to say that, Mew. Don't be stupid. Don't you know me and Balls are the best of friends?
So what made the floorboard
come loose?
And I'm going to try this again, and aim correctly.
Tore off the floorboard.
3 or 4 in terms of seems somewhat impossible, but not. I think it would have been difficult to remove the heavy floorboard to be the same.
Damn it! So what made the floorboard come loose?
Judging from the sound, there must have been considerable force.
Someone who participated in the seance. Maybe that person tore off the floorboard. It fell over.
But that statue was still on top of the
Culprit hide under floor. Then stood up with such might.
Okay. Or hit their head on that up floorboard, they were just dead.
Damn it!
Okay.
So what made the floorboard come loose?
Judging from the sound, there must have been considerable force.
right with that.
So what made the floorboard come loose? Judging from the sound, there must have been considerable force. Someone who participated in the seance. Maybe that person tore up the floorboard.
That wouldn't make such a
Loud crashing sound. Maybe the wooden statue fell over.
But
that statue was still on top of the cage. Culprit tried to
Under 4. Then stood up with such might.
I don't think it's that.
But we already said there was no one under the floor.
Someone must have stomped through the floorboard.
A floorboard that comes loose when
Could
you
be
step on it
that.
is dangerous. God, it's like I'm the only one here who's staying on the ball.
You hardly have any experience with balls to say that, Mew.
Balls are the best of.
God, if it was something to do with that. What would have made a strong enough impact to knock the floorboard loose? Everyone's testimony combined with the facts. Okay.
So what made the floorboard come loose?
Wasn't it a nice circle sand cell? Looks like his body was found in the nice circle trampled on. That made it impossible to check the original shape. Stomped on the floorboard?
Judging from the sound, there must have been considerable force.
someone who participated in the seance. Maybe that person tried to grab it.
That wouldn't make such a loud crashing sound.
Maybe the wooden statue fell over.
But that statue was still on top of the cage.
Culprit hide under floor. Then
stood up with such might.
But we said there was
no one on the floor.
Someone must have stomped through the floorboard.
Okay, there we go.
I agree. Kokichi is right. The floorboard came loose because someone stomped on it.
the floorboards fit perfect. Going to make sure first time we go to empty room.
When we first saw the room, yes. But when I looked again during the investigation, one of the crosspieces supporting the floorboards was cut off. After examining the cut, I concluded that it must have been done deliberately.
Someone? You mean the culprit, right? Why'd they do that?
What did the culprit stand to gain by cutting the crosspiece?
What did they stand to gain? That's the question. To solve this case, I'll need to think carefully about the crosspiece and floorboard. Amen. Tenko's body was at one end of the loose floorboard, and the crosspiece that had been cut was on the other end of the loose floorboard. The unsupported part was outside the cage, so it could have been stomped on. Only one of the crosspieces was cut, the other two were intact. One of them was right under Tenko, and the other was in the center, right about where the edge of the cage was. What was the culprit attempting to achieve by stomping on the floorboard? Think. Come on, think. Okay, Hangman's good. Definitely. And a... an S. Okay. E? No.
Cut? I think it sounds.
Yeah, maybe. No, wait. C.
Oh. Never mind.
Okay. Okay. No. Wait, Seesaw.
What was the question?
What
Again?
happened when the loose floorboard was stepped on? Seesaw effect?
I guess so. Like, it lifted her down, maybe?
Well, no, it pushed the other one up. Because they stepped down on the piece that was outside of the thing. So push the other part of the floorboard up. It is Seesaw effect.
Okay.
But I have to find the F. Oh. There we go.
I see now. That's right. The floorboard might have been used as a seesaw.
Yeah? A seesaw?
The crosspiece at one end of the floorboard had been cut off. The other two crosspieces holding up that board were close to the cage. Meaning, if you were to apply force to the end of the floorboard with no crosspiece, the next crosspiece would act as a fulcrum to turn the floorboard into a lever. A lever capable of lifting up Tenko's entire body.
Her whole body lifted up?
Still don't understand why that.
Yeah, that sounds like a
Oh.
seesaw, all right. But why bother lifting Tenko's body?
They couldn't have killed Tenko like that. Unless they used the sickle.
That's exactly it. Using the seesaw trick, it was possible to kill Tenko with a sickle.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Because the cage is like 3 feet tall, so they need her neck to be higher. Right?
Well, no, because they couldn't have stabbed her through the cage because the sheet was still intact.
Okay.
In order for the culprit to kill Tenko with a seesaw trick, the placement of the sickle is the most important factor.
The floorboard seesaw, the cage, and the blood on the white fabric. What conclusions can I draw from this? There's only one place the sickle could have been that is consistent with the evidence. The top of the cage? Between the victim and the floorboard.
That's it!
It was at the top of the cage.
The sickle was at the top of the iron cage, with the blade facing
That
down.
is a Waffles. That's exactly what I said before we started stream. They hid the weapon at the top of the cage, and somehow got it to trigger during the seance. That is exactly what I said.
Oh, because they dropped it, like when they put the heavy thing on it, probably.
Yeah, let's see.
The reason we didn't see it was because of the fabric covering the cage. Also, the wooden statue kept the blade in place. It's true that the sickle's handle was thick, which made the statue
How
wobble,
did it get it into the thing?
but the statue's weight kept it from
It had
falling over.
been somebody who put the tarp on, and if he was the only one who put the tarp on, then it has to be Kyo.
That's true.
How else would they
Once
have done
everything was in place,
Yeah,
if you stepped hard enough on the seesaw,
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense.
Tenko's body would have shot upward and hit the blade on
it?
the
Yo,
top
that's
of the cage.
terrible.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's like just like mastermind level type of like
She
to
was
think
bent
of that.
over, meaning the sickle's blade
Yeah, that's
would have
fucked.
connected with her neck.
The 6-inch sickle blade wasn't
That
long
definitely
enough
would
to
have been
stab
like
Tenko in
instant
a
death,
crouched
right?
position.
Because if it was on her neck.
Yeah, like that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
that's-
think so.
But with the
That makes
floorboard
sense
acting
as to
as a
why like
seesaw,
you wouldn't hear
it
her
could
say
compensate
anything.
for the
She didn't
blade's
have time
length.
to react.
Bringing the victim to the sickle rather than bringing the sickle to the victim. That's definitely an unorthodox idea.
But then how do you get rid of the sickle, right?
Yeah, that's a great question.
It's crazy, but it would explain how Tenko got stabbed while she was in the cage.
So the sound we heard was the culprit stomping on the floorboard.
That impact make floorboard come loose.
Looks like we got ourselves a good old-fashioned seesaw homicide. Wait, what the hell's a seesaw homicide? That's fucking crazy!
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's like, is this a thing?
The craziness is what really makes the killing game fun, you know?
He is right, though. He is right.
They can't get away with murder the normal way, so they gotta think outside the box. Kudos, culprit! You did a great job keeping me entertained.
Indeed. Well played, Himiko.
I don't know.
Yeah?
It was you, wasn't it? The one behind the Seesaw homicide.
That was the box just moved, okay? That was weird.
Huh? Why her?
Because she's the only one capable of carrying out this plan.
Seems like he's trying to, you know, divert the attention.
Yeah, he definitely is. I think it's him.
Because this Seesaw homicide required its location to be prepared beforehand.
That is a very good point.
By cutting the crosspiece beneath the floorboard, you mean?
Then the culprit would need to lure their victim into the prepared room. That is why you chose that room for the seance. Is it not, Himiko?
However, there are 3 empty rooms. Which one shall we use?
God, that was the statement she made.
Room. The middle room's always best for stuff like this.
Oh yeah! Himiko was the one who chose the site for the seance!
She likely found out about my plans for the seance somehow.
You were
Okay,
quite
but
vocal
so
about
we're
the
focusing
seance,
again
Kyo.
on Tenko's
You
thing.
even had instructions
So-
for it in your lab.
We're gonna find out who killed Tenko, but then it's gonna be a question of who killed Angie.
Yep.
And that's what they're gonna spend all the time on left.
Yeah, because also, we haven't gone to the
Our
intermission
culprit,
yet.
Himiko.
Oh my god,
Prepared her
I like how
Seesaw
they made it
trap ahead of time.
Himiko shaped.
So. Yes.
Then she waited for me to host the seance and suggested the middle room. She led us all into holding the seance right where she wanted it. Then, she killed Tenko, all according to plan.
Makes sense though, because she's used
That's
to
a
making
lie,
all those
right?
elaborate stuff for like
Himiko
her magic
did such a
stuff.
thing?
It's true. It's a possibility.
In the end, Himiko, who Tenko cherished and loved, tragically killed her.
Wait! We don't know that, right? He's wrong, right, Himiko? Himiko would never kill
Okay,
Tenko,
now here,
right?
Himiko's gonna admit to it now.
Kill
Yeah.
Tenko? I killed Tenko?
Himiko?
What's wrong, Himiko?
I wonder who she thought was gonna go in there.
Oh, that's actually a super good point.
Right? Like I
because
don't think she thought that she was gonna go in there.
Also, she volunteered first to be the person in the middle.
She was gonna kill herself.
No, or well, I was thinking that maybe it wasn't actually that she wasn't. Maybe I'm thinking that it was Kyo that did it, but that's also a possibility.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's like, if that was the case, if she wanted to kill herself, and then when Tenko went into the thing, then she could have just not done it, not gone through with the plan.
But she couldn't. I don't know. Yeah.
But also, she still couldn't have put the sickle there. Only Kyo could have. So that's important.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about the sickle being.
It is true that using the middle room was Himiko's idea. Oh yeah, Shuichi's getting there. But does that But does that mean Himiko really killed Tenko? Would something like that really happen? Something so cruel. Now we hit intermission.